Well, good afternoon, beloved children of God and siblings of Christ. Following the Faith Leaders Web Conference on Tuesday with the Governor's Office and the State of Colorado's COVID Task Force, in respect to the existing and the increasing levels of risk in the community, I called for an updated meeting with our own CLC COVID Task Force. At the middle of September, when Council last met for regular business, the cautious hope was that CLC would be able to move from stage 3, called Continuing to Gather, up to stage 2, known as Open Door Ministry, on our own Christ Lutheran Church ministry amidst pandemic policy. We were able to celebrate Reformation Sunday on October 25th with 2 indoor in-person worship services that also affirmed the confirmation of 25 of our cherished 9th grade students. However, the hopes to continue indoor in-person worship services afterwards, beginning on November 1st, All Saints Sunday, and then following on the weekend of the 7th and 8th, were suspended due to increased COVID risks occurring at an alarming rate in our area. As these increases have since not only not subsided, but rather continue to climb, we remain in this difficult situation of stewarding indoor, in-person worship decisions. After the meeting with the Governor's Office and the State COVID Task Force, our own team shared the same increased concern that CLC's continuing efforts to move toward our Stage 2 Open Door Ministry is irresponsible and risks too much to be considered reasonably safe, even with our advanced procedures and the preparations that we have in place. Additionally, given the report from Colorado's Senior Advisor for COVID-19 Response, Resiliency, and Recovery, Ms. Casey Wolf, our current alarming increases have not yet peaked. Rather, she expects that with our existing levels as they are now, and the demonstrated community response and behavior, and the upcoming community calendar events that include, of course, holidays and school closures that often are met with increased travel opportunities, Ms. Wolf does not anticipate to see the peak level off until late Christmas at the earliest on the state's current course and trajectory. Furthermore, Ms. Wolf detailed in the meeting on Tuesday that the current stresses upon the healthcare infrastructure to meet the increasing demands of COVID care will exceed the state's abilities if community leaders, specifically including faith community leaders, do not assist in changing that current trajectory heading into the rest of November, December, and January. Given that, as Ms. Wolf stated, we are at the most dangerous point that we've experienced in the pandemic that we've seen so far. And we are experiencing, as she said, the most concerning trends that we've yet seen during this pandemic. The task force and council now unanimously agree that it is sadly no longer reasonable or risk responsible for CLC to allow for indoor in-person worship services, indoor in-person small group activities, and indoor in-person ministry events at this time. Finally, our hopes to possibly be able to celebrate indoor in-person worship for Christmas services this year can only responsibly be put forward to the congregation if COVID risk numbers decrease substantially. Thus, efforts to reduce current future COVID risks toward that goal are time sensitive to safeguarding actions and plans right now. Therefore, it is with no small amount of heartache that the COVID task force here at CLC and Council and I have unanimously decided that effective November 11th, CLC's worship services small groups, and ministry events operate at stage 4 of our policy, beginning to gather, and that pastoral care and staff work cautiously operate at stage 3, continuing to gather on our policy. This decision is going to be readdressed at the December 8th council meeting with an updated recommendation from our task force. So let me break down what those stages are, just so again we're very clear. For worship and for small groups, stage 4, all Christ Lutheran Church buildings, including restrooms, are closed to the public. Outside gatherings of up to 20 people, that are able to keep socially distant and mask directives are in place are allowed with congregation council and or my approval. Worship and most congregational gatherings will continue to take place exclusively on an online digital platform, such as our live streamed worship services each Sunday morning. Pastoral care at stage 3, in which care will be provided primarily through telephone calls, video conferencing, face-to-face appointments may be made in outdoor settings while maintaining social distance and wearing face coverings. Liturgies to commemorate births and baptisms, marriages and funerals, etc., are conducted online or outdoors or may have to be postponed. And then with staff in the office, stage 3, in which staff members who do not have fevers and are symptom-free will use their own safe discernment about working in the office, but are encouraged to remain working from home when possible. When they are in individual offices alone, such as I am right now, with the door closed, no precautions are necessary. However, when we are in public areas, such as the narthex or the sanctuary or in any of the rooms working together, face-to-face coverings, of course, will be required along with physical distancing. This decision by the task force and council and I, unanimous, is implemented now, including this upcoming weekend, and will remain in effect with continued discussion at our December 8th meeting at council. Let me be clear. We want to be able to get back to our cherished customs and celebrations. We want to be able to gather with you again in person. But right now it is not safe. It is less safe right now than it ever has been in Colorado with this pandemic. I ask you, as disciples of Christ, who are charged by the Lord to love God and to love your neighbor. On these 2 commandments hang the law of God. I ask you to discern your actions wisely and safely so that we can make it through this horrible pandemic with as much restored health and peace and eventual celebration as possible for all of us. It will come. It will come. But right now, it is not yet. May God continue to bless you. And in your own faithful love and support of this mission and ministry, may you know Christ's love. Amen.